My name is Kristin Rodier. I am an assistant professor of philosophy at Athabasca University.
And I'm Deanna Fidelak. I'm a professional resource faculty member at Access and Disability Resources at MacEwan University.
And we've collaborated together to really rethink how I administer readings in my philosophy courses. So, in philosophy, reading is an issue. We often complain that students don't do their reading. It impacts class discussion. And so many philosophers, myself included in the past, have turned to reading quizzes to try to solve this issue. And we have sort of not wanted to take up too much class time with them. So administering sort of a true false or surfacey, sort of detail-oriented quiz at the beginning of class to kind of give students a participation grade if they've looked into the reading. So the intention is to encourage reading completion, but I think in my own experience and others, it didn't really increase the number of students who were doing the reading.
The reason for that is, well, one of the reasons is that the problem isn't necessarily the quizzes or the student motivation to complete the readings. The problem is that the readings themselves are just not accessible to students. Students need to understand the readings in order to complete the quizzes successfully. So oftentimes the readings in philosophy are inaccessible to students for many reasons. We find that philosophical ideas and arguments themselves are quite complex. The readings are therefore difficult to follow. They're filled with jargon. The language level is more advanced than other texts students are used to interacting with. There's long, wordy sentences, untranslated words, and the English is sometimes quite archaic.
Yeah, and we have a specific article or passage structure in philosophy that can be quite difficult for students to grasp. So philosophers are often arguing with interlocutors that they're not even naming in the passage. So they're changing between voices within the passage. It's very difficult to follow sort of what are they actually saying, right? So then we decided to scrap these reading quizzes and really teach reading strategies specific to philosophy, sort of really take on this problem head on. So I researched techniques to boost reading skills. And
one of the ways that, I encouraged Kristin to teach these reading skills is to follow the gradual release of responsibility model. So we want to scaffold the reading process for students. So following a model of I do, where the person teaching the skill demonstrates it for the learner. With the we do, they do it together. They collaboratively demonstrate and model with the student themselves. And then eventually we get to a place where the student can demonstrate those skills independently on their own. That's the you do.
So I started to expose students to various active reading techniques initially through modeling. So I started offering students guided reading videos where I really demonstrated my own metacognition. How do I decide which details are important, which I can just sort of issue, and defining words as I go and sort of moving between voices in the passages. So the videos kind of got things going. And then I started teaching explicitly annotation skills, so how to extract information. I also provided students with skeleton notes or guided reading notes, something to help them sort of along with the text. And then we spent some time learning how to make mind maps to sort of visualize ideas and how they relate to each other. And then offering students choice in terms of how they're going to demonstrate their reading to me.
So if the original goal for the quizzes was to kind of assess reading compliance or to increase motivation, we've still met the goal. However, we've achieved that by embedding the teaching of specific reading strategies within our teaching process. We know that reading strategies are a useful skill, and we know that when they're taught, we increase the access to materials and resources for the learner. These skills are also transferable to other courses, so it's really a universal support that we've provided students.
Yeah, and in philosophy, reading is really a core skill, and it's something that direct instruction on will just boost the quality of in-class discussion, the quality of the papers that we're reading, and potentially increase, students' understanding and, dare I say, love for philosophy if engaging with the text are less frustrating. And so just opening up that world of ideas through reading skills.